Trump leads with 36%. Senator Ted Cruz is second. He has 17%. Senator Marco Rubio in third with 11%. Also, a new CNN ORC poll released today out of Iowa now has Trump on top with 37%. Cruz has 26%. And out of New Hampshire, a brand new CNN WMUR poll has Trump leading with 34%. Cruz is in second with 14. Here with reaction of course, the author of the book, Crippled America, How to Make America Great Again, which is his mantra, 2016, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Well, there were two polls in Iowa today. The Emerson College poll had you by 10. The CNN poll had you by 11. Why all of a sudden now the big surge? It had been tightening up a little bit.
Well, I think they were right from the beginning. I'm not sure if it was a surge. You know, CNN had us at 33-20 about 2 weeks ago, but nobody wanted to report that poll because it was too much of a lead, so they reported other polls that were closer. The Des Moines paper that I'm not a big fan of, Des Moines Register, and they reported that poll, which I disagree with. But, you know, look, I mean, we've really done well. I've spent a lot of time in Iowa. I love the people of Iowa. We're doing great with the evangelicals, Sean. We're doing great with the Tea Party, and I think we're going to do really well in Iowa. We look forward to it.
Look, you have gotten some criticism from some conservatives about the back and forth between you and Ted Cruz, and I want to ask you about it. Mark Levin is mad at the tone. Rush Limbaugh said, you know, that this is national and populism, not necessarily conservatism. Newt Gingrich said on this program this week that you are demeaning yourself if you get into a fight in this particular case. But the polls show you're winning. So do you go with the polls that it works when you go back and forth, or do you say, yeah, maybe my relationship with Ted Cruz can be repaired?
Well, I have to go with my own thinking. Don't forget, Ted attacked me, and then I attacked him. But he started, and he attacked me pretty viciously. And, you know, first he was laying back, as we all know. It was, you know, everybody, they said in the wake. And frankly, he attacked me, Sean. So, and I have a lot of respect for Mark Levin. I have a tremendous respect for Rush. Rush has been great for me. Rush has been so amazing. And Mark's been pretty good. I mean, Mark likes Ted, and I think he likes me. But you know, I have to go with my own thinking. And I talked about the fact that, frankly, I think I'm doing the party a favor, and I think I'm doing actually Ted a favor. The fact that he was born in Canada, he was a citizen of Canada until just 15 months ago, and he's got a problem. We have constitutional lawyers that are coming out saying he can't even run. So how can you have a candidate that you're going to pick as a Republican nominee, and he's not allowed to run for the office of president? That's a big problem. And he has some other problems, like he didn't disclose in his financial papers that he was borrowing money from Goldman Sachs and Citibank, because he wants to be the big, you know, wonderful guy that takes down the banks. But here he is with personal guarantees to Citibank and Goldman Sachs. So, you know, I think it should have been disclosed.
Let me go through. If these polls hold up, you will be the Republican nominee. I know a lot of your agenda, but I want to go over it with 11 days to Iowa, maybe closing argument sort of thing. I know you have said that you would rescind on day one Obama's executive orders. You would build the wall expeditiously. You've been very firm about that. You would raise the standards for who we allow into this country. You would replace Obamacare. You told me, I think you're still for health care savings accounts, correct?
Yes, I like that as a concept. I certainly like it, yes.
Yeah. And ISIS, you would take their oil and bomb the living daylights out of them. Tell me.
I would bomb them. You better believe it.
I want you to expand for maybe those people, those few people that are left that are undecided in Iowa and New Hampshire. Tell them what else a Trump presidency would look like.
Well, we're going to be strong on the military. We're going to build our military. You know, our military is a mess right now. We've just let it go. There hasn't been proper investment, and our military is going down. I'm in the real estate business. All the time I'm getting listings, Army bases, naval bases. I mean, they're selling everything. I just say, how many bases do they have? Anybody in the real estate industry can tell you, because I'm getting constantly, I get listings for these military bases, and I say, how many are we going to close? We have to create a tremendously strong military. Hopefully never have to use it, but it's got to be so strong that nobody's going to mess with us, Sean, because we're at a very perilous time. I want to take care of our vets, big league, take care of the vets. We're going to strengthen the border. We're going to build the wall. I tell you, Mexico is going to pay for the wall. It's going to be very simple. They're making a fortune. I'm going to also, you know, Carl Icahn, who's a great businessman, endorsed me. Many other businessmen have endorsed me and want to endorse me, the greatest. Unfortunately, a lot of people haven't heard of them, but these are the greatest businessmen in the world, and women. and we're going to have great people negotiating our trade agreements. We're not going to lose $500 billion a year with China like last year. $500 billion in trade deficits with China. It's not going to happen anymore. Japan, Mexico is killing us at the border, but they're also killing us in trade. Ford is building a big plant there, a $2.5 billion plant. Nabisco is leaving Chicago with a big plant, and they're building a plant in Mexico. Why? So we're going to stop all of that. We're going to have people build plants, but they're going to be built in this country, and they're going to want to build them. It's not going to be. We're not going to force them. We're going to build them because we're lowering the taxes. You know, we're the highest taxed nation in the world. When my tax plan, which is very good, which your friend Larry Kudlow, who I respect a lot, loves my plan. When this plan goes into effect, a lot of good things are going to happen.
I like the repatriation.
And we're going to also stop corporate inversion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We're going to stop corporate inversion.
Let me ask you this.
We have companies that are leaving Sean, we have companies that are leaving the United States and moving to Ireland and Europe and Asia. I mean, they're leaving. Pfizer is moving to Ireland. We have major, wonderful companies.
Tax benefits.
That, frankly, because the taxes are so high and because they can't bring their money back into our country, which is ridiculous, even the Democrats, you know, it's amazing. Democrats and Republicans agree the money should be allowed to come back in. Who wouldn't agree? They can't get along. They can't make a deal.
A big part of your campaign is about how America has made stupid deals, and as the president, you would negotiate better deals. You'd blow up the entire Iran deal, which needs to be blown up. You would negotiate better deals with China, better deals with Japan, better deals with Mexico. Here's my question. If you look at the American electorate right now, and I count myself among them, and I'm a registered conservative, I'm angry at Washington, even Republicans, because they have contributed to the debt. They're the ones that allowed Obama's executive amnesty. They wouldn't use the power of the purse. In terms of negotiating with a Congress that has shown itself to have zero to little discipline, how will you hold the line when they want to raise the deficit and the debt? How do you negotiate with those, lifelong politicians if you become the president?
Sean, I guess you know, and people that are in business know, I've been dealing with politicians all my life. I mean, it's fine to deal with politicians. There's nothing wrong with it. You deal with them. You have to cajole and you have to get them in a room. A little like Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. You know, they were very opposites in a lot of ways, but they got along and they made deals and the country did well and everybody was happy. They're not doing executive orders like Obama does because not even the Democrats will do what he wants to do. So you have to be able to do this. You know, you mentioned, sadly, the Iran deal. The worst part of the Iran deal is by the time I get there, if I win, but by the time I get there, $150 billion will be spent.
You can't
do it. And then today, well, I don't know if you saw today, Secretary Kerry, he came out and he said, yes, we expect a certain amount of that money to be used for terror.
I have the cut.
Can
you want me to play
this?
it? Let me play it for our audience so they know what you're talking about.
Amazing.
It's outrageous.
I couldn't believe the statement. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that some of it will end up in the hands of the IRGC or of other entities, some of which are labeled terrorist. To some degree, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every component of that can be prevented, but I can tell you this. Right now, we are not seeing the early delivery of funds going to that kind of endeavor at this point in time. I'm sure at some point some of it will.
I just cannot believe he said that.
Listen, Sean, listen to the stupidity of that statement. He said, well, so far we're happy that they haven't given it to terror, essentially. Why don't they have restrictions? First of all, the money should have never been given back under any circumstances. We should have gotten our prisoners back. We then should have said we're not giving. We owe $19 trillion, Sean, $19 trillion. It's going to be because of that really horrible budget deal that was made 2 weeks ago. It's now going up to $21 trillion very quickly, right? So we owe $21 trillion. Here's a guy that says the money we gave them is going to be used for terror. If that's the case, first of all, why did they give them the money? But second of all, Sean, why didn't they have clauses that it can't go to terror?
It is insane.
It's incredible.
If Congress
I can't
comes
believe
to you
he's even
and you're
an
the
intelligent man.
And they hand you a budget and it's going to blow the deficit through the roof, you're going to hold the line, correct?
I'm going to hold the line. You know, I heard the other day that they want to make the budget, balance the budget within 25 years. I said 25 years? Why 25 years? We can do it. Look, we're getting rid of Common Core, even though some people like Jeb Bush, who doesn't have a clue, Some people like Common Core. Jeb Bush likes Common Core. Some people like him are weak on immigration. I mean, they're very weak. You know, remember he said they come in as an act of love. We need people that know what they're doing. We spend a fortune on education. We're number 28 in the world, and we're number 1 in spending. We're getting rid of Common Core. There's so many things that we can cut.
All right, stay right
and
there.
We can balance the budget very quickly.
But you think in 5 years?
I think over a 5-year period, and I don't know, maybe I could even surprise you.
All right.
But I mean make the country better. I'm not saying skimp. I'm saying making the country better.
I want the country to, I know most Americans are with you, wanting the country to be better and stronger. We'll take a break. More with Donald Trump later. Welcome back to Hannity. We continue with 2016 Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. I want to ask you, if you get this nomination, polls have you ahead today, up 10 and 11 in Iowa. You're up by a lot in New Hampshire and South Carolina. If you get the nomination and you go up against Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden, I guess we don't know who it's going to be, or Elizabeth Warren, my question to you is, tell me why, and I've asked you before, you think you are more electable than every other Republican in this primary. Tell me how that's so. What states do you bring into play that they don't?
Well, I think I'm not only more electable, I think I'll win the election. And you saw the poll come out last week, the Fox poll, saying I beat Hillary Clinton. And I think I will beat any one of them. I think she's probably more difficult than wacky Bernie. And I think I will beat them. I mean, I will just beat them. And I'll bring states, as an example, I think I'll win Pennsylvania. I think I'll win Ohio. You saw my numbers in Florida where I'm beating everybody. I'm at 48. And Bush and you know, who was a former governor, is like at 9 or 10. And Rubio, the senator, is at 11. He's a very low number.
I've got that poll.
No,
this
I mean,
is the Florida
I'm at
Atlantic
48
University
in Florida.
poll.
I think I'll win. Yeah, and plus I employ tremendous numbers of people in Florida. Florida loves Trump, and I love Florida. So I think I'm going to win Florida. I think I have a really good chance of winning New York. If we win New York, the whole ball game is over, because nobody ever even anticipates winning New York, because it has so many, you know, it's so powerful in terms of the process that we're talking about. West Virginia, I heard it's like a love fest.
For you.
Because they understand my feeling toward coal and everything else. But West Virginia, Virginia, I think I'm going to win states that are not on the agenda for Republicans to win.
Did you see this intelligence community inspector general report about Hillary? On top of the 1,300 emails, they now discovered that they now have a special access program that they discovered in this new report. Every single one of those emails would represent a felony if this turns out to be true. And by the way, this was a guy appointed by Obama, confirmed by a Democratic-controlled Senate. I'm beginning to wonder if she gets there. What are your thoughts about Hillary making it?
Well, I've been saying for a while, well, it's very serious stuff, and it seems like she's being protected by the president and the Democrats, because General Petraeus has been destroyed, and I hope they don't go any further. Now they want to strip him of rank. Just leave him alone. You know, we have to fight ISIS. We have to fight trade deals with China and Japan and Mexico. We have enough fights. We don't have to strip General Petraeus. I think he's suffered enough.
I agree.
I think they ought to leave him alone. Enough. Go to another battle. Just leave him alone. We're always doing things like this, and we ought to focus on some of the problems we have, like ISIS as an example, like Iran, which is now going to be a terror. I mean, can you imagine how bad they're going to be with all of this money that we just handed them? Yep. So just leave General Petraeus alone. It's enough. But it's very serious stuff. I mean, her situation is a very grave situation. In one way, I'm upset because I really want to run against her. I would love to run against her. And you know, your own Fox polls, hey Sean, your own Fox polls have her losing to me. But I really want to run against Hillary.
You want to run against her, not the curmudgeon socialist? All right, let me ask you this. You know, I don't like...
I actually...
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually would love to run against her. And by the way, the last person she wants to run against is me. And you know that. And you got a glimpse of that last week. But the last person she wants to run against is me.
You know, I don't like sore losers in life. Lindsey Graham came out today and said, you know, the battle between you and Ted Cruz, it's like being poisoned or being shot. There's palpable...
Terrible.
I mean, he didn't even have... He was like an asterisk, and maybe had 1% in his own state. I don't like sore losers. And he seems like he's bitter.
Well,
but there are establishment people that don't like you. What do you say to them if you get the nomination?
Well, a lot of people are saying the establishment people are coming my way, and they're starting to see that I'm the one person that's going to win the election. I'll win the election. I will win the election. Don't forget, I focused on guys like Lindsey Graham and knocked him out of the race. and lots of other ones who I won't mention. But I saw him today, and I said, isn't that sad? First of all, he knows less about the military. His strategy is so bad. His whole strategy with Assad and everybody else is so bad. It's so off. No wonder we've been fighting a war for 15 years. Lindsey Graham had zero when he got out of the race. He had zero. He had nothing. Yeah. In South Carolina, where I'm #1 in South Carolina, I was at 38 and he was at 1. And then he goes out and endorses Bush, of all people, who doesn't have a chance. I mean, here's a guy who's afraid to use his last name.
We're running out of time. I don't want to waste it all on him.
I think you're right. It's sad. It's sad. You're right. We shouldn't waste it on him.
If Donald Trump commits to fighting a war, is it we go to win it or we don't go at all? Last question.
Okay. We're gonna have a strong military. We're gonna only win our wars. I don't want to go into wars. I'm a very temperate guy, believe it or not. We're going to have a powerful military. We're not going to have to. But if we go into a war, we're going to go into the war to win it.
All right. Mr. Trump, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us. 11 days, getting close. Thank you.